He slammed the door so hard the glass wall shook, his hand gripping her wrist before she could take another step. "You don't get to walk away from me," he said, his voice low and dangerous. Amara's heart pounded, but she didn't look away. "Watch me." His jaw tightened. "You signed a contract." She let out a shaky laugh. "Yeah, a contract you already planned before I even existed in your world." Silence fell between them, heavy and suffocating. "Say something," she demanded, her voice breaking. "Tell me I'm wrong." He didn't. And that was all the answer she needed. If you're watching this, you won't believe what happens next, but before we go further, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and tell me in the comments, would you walk away or stay? 2 months earlier, Amara Cole stood outside the billing office, her fingers trembling around a stack of unpaid hospital bills. "This has to be a mistake," she whispered. The woman behind the glass barely looked at her. "It's not. Payment is due by Friday." "I don't have that kind of money," Amara said, her voice cracking. "My mom needs that surgery." "I'm sorry," the woman replied flatly. "But without payment, it will be delayed." Delayed. Amara knew what that meant. Delayed meant worse. Delayed meant risk. Her chest tightened as she stepped outside into the cold Chicago air, her breath visible, her world collapsing. "Miss Cole." She turned. A man in a perfectly fitted black suit stood behind her, holding a tablet. "Yes, my employer would like to speak with you." She frowned. "I think you have the wrong person." "I don't," he said calmly. "Please come with me." Every instinct told her to walk away. But desperation is louder than instinct. 20 minutes later, she stepped into a glass office high above the city, her worn shoes clicking awkwardly against the polished floor. He didn't stand when she entered. Ethan Blackwood sat behind a massive desk, his eyes scanning a document before finally lifting to meet hers. Sharp. Cold. Controlled. "Sit," he said. Not asked. Said. Amara hesitated, then sat anyway. "You're probably wondering why you're here," he continued. "That would be helpful," she replied. He slid a file across the desk. Her name was on it. Her full name. Her background. Her life. Her stomach dropped. "What is this?" she asked slowly. "An opportunity." Her eyes snapped up. "This doesn't feel like one." He leaned back slightly, studying her like she was a business deal. "I need a wife." Amara blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "A contract marriage," he clarified. 1 year. Public appearances, social obligations, nothing more. She stared at him, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. "You're serious?" "Yes." She let out a disbelieving laugh. "You just pick random women off the street now?" "You're not random," he said. Something about the way he said it made her pause. "What do you mean by that?" "That's not relevant," he replied smoothly. "What matters is what you gain from this." "And what exactly do I gain?" He tapped the file. "I cover your mother's surgery." "In full." "Immediately." Her breath caught. "You, what?" "And," he continued, "you receive a financial settlement large enough to solve your current situation." Her mind raced. This couldn't be real. "What's the catch?" she asked carefully. His expression didn't change. No emotional involvement. No intimacy. No personal attachment. "You will act as my wife in public. Privately, we remain separate." "That's it?" "That's it." "That doesn't make sense," she said. "Why would you need this?" "My reasons are my own." She shook her head. "This is insane." "Is it?" he asked calmly. "Or is it exactly what you need?" Her silence answered him. "Think about your mother," he added quietly. That was the moment she broke. "How soon would the surgery be paid for?" she asked. "Within 24 hours of your agreement." Her throat tightened. "And if I say no?" "You walk away," he said. "And nothing changes." Nothing changes. That meant everything gets worse. Amara closed her eyes for a second, then opened them. "I want it in writing," she said. "It already is. And I get my own lawyer to review it." "Of course." "And if you cross any of those boundaries." "I won't," he interrupted. She stared at him. Something about his certainty unsettled her. "Fine," she said finally. "I'll do it." For the first time, something shifted in his eyes. Not warmth. Not quite. But something. Good, he said. The contract was signed that night. The wedding happened 3 days later. Fast. Quiet. Strategic. The media called it a whirlwind romance. Amara called it survival. Standing at the altar, she glanced at Ethan beside her. Perfect suit. Perfect posture. Perfect control. Are you nervous? She whispered under her breath. No, he replied. She huffed softly. Must be nice. You should be, he added. Her eyes narrowed. Why? Because once this begins, he said, his voice barely audible, there's no going back. The ceremony ended with applause. The kiss? Didn't happen. He simply took her hand and led her away, as if even that was too personal. That night, they arrived at the penthouse. Amara stepped inside, her breath catching at the sheer size of it. This is insane, she muttered. You'll get used to it, he said. Doubt it. He set his keys down. Your room is down the hall. Mine is on the opposite side. She blinked. That far? Yes. She crossed her arms. Wow. You really meant the no attachment part. I don't say things I don't mean. Clearly. There was a pause. So, that's it? She asked. We just live like roommates? Correct. And in public? We're married. She let out a breath. This is going to be weird. You'll adjust. She studied him for a moment. You're really okay with this? She asked. Yes. No emotions. No complications. Yes. No crossing the line. His gaze met hers. Yes. Something about the way he said it made her stomach twist. Like he was convincing himself more than her. Amara turned and walked toward her room. Good night, husband, she said over her shoulder. He didn't respond. But he didn't look away either. And neither of them realized. That was the last moment things would ever feel simple. If you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to like the video and tell me in the comments, do you think this marriage will stay just business? Because what happens next changes everything. The first week of their marriage felt like living with a ghost. Ethan was there, but not really there. Amara would wake up and find the penthouse silent, his side of the world untouched. By the time she came out for coffee, he was already gone. And at night? He returned late, always composed, always distant. Do you ever sleep? She asked one evening as he walked past her toward his office. I do, he replied without stopping. When? In another dimension. He paused for half a second, then continued walking. Amara rolled her eyes. Right. Conversation clearly not part of the contract. But the silence didn't last forever. Because the world outside demanded a performance. Their first public appearance came fast, a high-profile corporate gala filled with flashing cameras and people who smiled too much and meant too little. Amara stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the black dress his assistant had picked out for her. This doesn't even feel like me, she muttered. You represent me now. She turned. Ethan stood by the door, already dressed, already perfect. She raised a brow. So I'm a brand? Yes. Wow, she said dryly. That's romantic. He ignored that. When we arrive, stay close. Smile when necessary. Speak only when addressed. She stared at him. You're joking, right? I don't joke. Clearly, she said under her breath. He stepped closer, his gaze sharp. This matters. And what about me? She shot back. Do I matter, or am I just part of the image? For a split second, something flickered in his eyes. But it vanished just as quickly. You agreed to this, he said. Amara exhaled slowly. Yeah, I did. The gala was exactly what she expected, bright lights, expensive suits, fake laughter. And eyes. So many eyes. Mr. Blackwood. Over here. Who's the lucky woman? Is this the new Mrs. Blackwood? Ethan's hand rested lightly on her waist, guiding her through the crowd like she belonged there. It felt strange. Too natural. Too convincing. You're gripping me a little tight, she whispered. Smile, he replied under his breath. She forced one. You're enjoying this, aren't you? No. Liar. Before he could respond, a man approached them, his smile wide and his tone even wider. Ethan, you've been hiding this one. Amara stiffened slightly. And you are? The man asked, looking her up and down in a way she didn't like. Amara, she said coolly. He chuckled. Didn't think you were the marrying type, Ethan. Especially not someone like. Careful, Ethan cut in, his voice quiet but sharp. The man blinked. I didn't mean. You did, Ethan said, his gaze unwavering. And you'll address my wife with respect. Silence fell. Amara's heart skipped. The man cleared his throat. Of course. My apologies. Ethan didn't respond. He simply turned and led Amara away. She waited until they were out of earshot before speaking. Well, that was intense. He crossed a line, Ethan said. She let out a soft laugh. You're allowed to say that? His eyes flicked to hers. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, she said quickly. Just, didn't expect you to defend me like that. I protect what's mine. The words hit differently than they should have. Amara looked away. Right. The contract. But something had shifted. And she felt it. The drive home was quiet, but not uncomfortable. Just different. When they got back, Amara kicked off her heels and let out a groan. I swear, if I have to smile like that again, my face might break. Ethan loosened his tie, watching her. You handled yourself well, he said. She blinked. Was that a compliment? Yes. Wow, she said, smirking slightly. Mark the calendar. He almost smiled. Almost. Days turned into weeks. And the lines between business and something else started to blur. It was small things at first. Like the way he started noticing when she skipped meals. You didn't eat, he said one afternoon. She shrugged. Wasn't hungry. That's not an answer. It is if you don't want to argue. He stared at her for a moment, then walked away. The next morning, breakfast was already on the table. She frowned. Did you eat? He said simply. Another time, she fell asleep on the couch, a movie playing softly in the background. When she woke up, the lights were dimmed and a blanket covered her. She sat up, confused. Ethan? No answer. But she knew. And then there were the looks. The ones he didn't realize he gave her. Like when she laughed too loud at something on her phone. Or when she walked into a room without noticing him watching. It made her uneasy. Not because it was threatening, but because it wasn't supposed to be there. You're staring, she said one evening, catching him off guard. I'm not. You are. He looked away. You're imagining things. Am I? Silence. Amara folded her arms. This is exactly why contracts like this don't work. And why is that? Because people aren't robots, she said. Feelings happen. They don't have to. She tilted her head. And what if they already are? His jaw tightened. They're not. She held his gaze for a moment longer than necessary. Good, she said softly. But she wasn't sure if she meant it. Then came the night everything almost changed. It started with rain. Heavy. Loud. Unrelenting. Amara stood by the window, watching the city blur beneath it. You ever just feel stuck? She asked quietly. Ethan, sitting across the room, looked up. In what sense? In life, she said. Like you're moving, but not really going anywhere. He didn't answer immediately. Then no. She laughed softly. Of course not. Why do you ask? She hesitated. Then shrugged. Just thinking out loud. Silence settled again. But this time, it felt heavier. Amara. She turned. His voice was different. Less controlled. What? She asked. He stood, walking toward her slowly. You don't have to carry everything alone. Her breath caught. Since when do you care? She whispered. He stopped in front of her. Since you became my responsibility. Something about that answer made her chest tighten. That's not the same thing, she said. Isn't it? No, she replied firmly. Responsibility isn't the same as caring. His eyes darkened slightly. And what do you know about it? He asked. She stepped closer, her voice rising. More than you think. Then explain it to me. It's simple, she said. Caring means you see me. Not just the role I play. Not just the contract. Me. Silence. The tension between them thickened. And do you think I don't? He asked quietly. She hesitated. That hesitation said everything. Before she could respond. His phone rang. The moment shattered instantly. He glanced at the screen, his expression hardening again. I have to take this, he said. Of course you do, she replied, stepping back. Just like that. The wall was back up. And whatever almost happened between them was left unfinished. If you're still watching, don't forget to like this video and drop a comment. Do you think Ethan is starting to fall for her, or is this all still part of the plan? Because what happens next is where everything crosses the line. The silence after that night didn't feel the same anymore. It wasn't cold. It wasn't distant. It was charged. Like something had started that neither of them knew how to stop. Amara noticed it first. The way Ethan lingered a second too long when he walked past her. The way his voice softened, just slightly, when he said her name. Amara. She looked up from her phone. Yeah. He paused, like he'd forgotten what he was about to say. Nothing. She frowned. You literally called my name. I know. And you have nothing to say? Correct. She stared at him. You're weird. He didn't respond. But this time, there was the faintest hint of something in his eyes. Something warmer. And that scared her more than his coldness ever did. Because warmth meant danger. Warmth meant attachment. And attachment was the one thing they were never supposed to have. You're doing it again, she said one afternoon. Doing what? Looking at me like that. His brow furrowed. Like what? Like, she hesitated. Like you're trying to figure me out. I am. Her breath caught. Why? Because you don't make sense. She let out a soft laugh. That's funny coming from you. Explain. You're the one who married a stranger, she said. That doesn't exactly scream, makes sense. It was necessary. For what? He didn't answer. And that was becoming a pattern. See, she said. You always do that. Do what? Shut me out. His jaw tightened slightly. There are things you don't need to know. Or things you don't want me to know, she challenged. Silence. Amara shook her head. You're impossible. And yet you're still here. That hit harder than she expected. Yeah, she said quietly. I am. But for how long? That question lingered in the air long after the conversation ended. And then came the night everything changed. For real this time. It was another event. Another room full of people pretending to be perfect. Amara stood beside Ethan, her hand resting lightly on his arm as cameras flashed around them. Smile, he murmured. I am smiling, she whispered back. Try harder. She resisted the urge to roll her eyes. You're enjoying this way too much. I'm working. Same thing for you, apparently. Before he could respond, a woman approached them. Tall, elegant, confident. Too confident. Ethan, she said smoothly. The way she said his name made Amara's stomach twist. Not because of jealousy. No. At least, that's what she told herself. Victoria, Ethan replied, his tone unreadable. Victoria. The name hung in the air like a warning. I see you finally went through with it, she said, her eyes sliding to Amara. Your arrangement. Amara stiffened slightly. Arrangement? Wife. Ethan corrected calmly. Victoria smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Of course. She stepped closer, her gaze sharp. Tell me, does she know? Amara's heart skipped. Know what? She asked. Ethan's expression darkened. That's enough. Oh, come on, Victoria said lightly. She deserves to know the truth, doesn't she? Truth? What truth? Amara pressed, her voice tight. Ethan's hand tightened slightly on her waist. We're leaving. What? Amara snapped. No, we're not. Not until someone explains what's going on. Victoria tilted her head, clearly enjoying this. You didn't tell her? She asked Ethan softly. That's interesting. Victoria, he warned. But it was too late. Tell me what? Amara demanded, pulling away from him. The room suddenly felt too small. Too loud. Too suffocating. Ethan exhaled slowly. Not here. Then where? She shot back. Because I'm not moving until you start talking. For a moment, it looked like he might refuse. But then, fine, he said quietly. We'll talk at home. Amara didn't like that answer. Not one bit. The drive back was silent. Tense. Explosive. The second they stepped into the penthouse, Amara turned to him. Start talking. Ethan set his keys down slowly. What Victoria said. Don't say her name like that, Amara snapped. Just answer the question. His eyes met hers. And for the first time, she saw hesitation. That terrified her. Ethan, she said, her voice shaking now. What am I missing? He didn't answer immediately. And that silence? It broke something in her. You know what? She said, backing away. Forget it. I'll find out myself. She turned, heading toward his office. Amara. Don't, she cut him off. If you won't tell me, I'll just look. He moved quickly, stepping in front of her. You don't want to do that. Watch me. She tried to move past him. He caught her wrist. Again. Just like before. Only this time. It felt different. This isn't a game, he said, his voice low. Then stop treating me like I'm part of one, she fired back. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous silence. Let go of me, she said, her voice quieter now. He didn't. Her heart pounded. This breaks the contract, she whispered. His grip loosened slightly. But he didn't step back. Maybe the contract isn't enough anymore, he said. Her breath hitched. What does that even mean? She asked. It means, he hesitated, searching for words he clearly wasn't used to saying. It means what, Ethan? That things have changed. Her chest tightened. For who? For me. The room went still. Completely still. Amara swallowed hard. You don't get to say that. Why not? Because that wasn't part of the deal, she snapped. You don't get to suddenly feel things and expect me to just, what? Accept it. I'm not asking you to accept anything. Then what are you doing? He stepped closer. Too close. I'm telling you the truth. Her heart raced. This is a mistake, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I know. Ethan. But he didn't stop. His hand moved to her face, hesitant at first, like he was giving her time to pull away. She didn't. And that was the problem. This crosses the line, she said softly. I know. Then why are you still? He didn't let her finish. He kissed her. And everything shattered. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't careful. It was years of control, breaking all at once. Her hands pushed against his chest. But not hard enough. Not enough to stop him. Not enough to stop herself. For a moment, she kissed him back. And that moment changed everything. When they finally pulled apart, the silence was deafening. What did you just do? She whispered. His forehead rested lightly against hers. What I shouldn't have done a long time ago. Her heart dropped. A long time ago, she repeated. The words echoed in her mind. Over and over. What does that mean? She asked slowly. Ethan froze. Just for a second. But she saw it. And that's when she knew. Something wasn't right. What are you telling me? She demanded. Amara. No, she said, stepping back now. You don't get to do that. You don't get to kiss me and then hide things from me. I'm not hiding anything. Then say it, she shouted. Say whatever it is you're not saying. Silence. Again. Always silence. Tears burned in her eyes. Was any of this real? She asked, her voice breaking. Or was I just part of your plan from the beginning? He didn't answer. And that hurt more than anything. If you're still watching, this is where everything starts to fall apart. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, was that kiss real or just another manipulation? Because what Amara discovers next will change how you see Ethan forever. Amara didn't wait for him to explain. She couldn't. Because deep down, she already knew the answer wasn't going to fix anything. It was going to destroy everything. I'm done asking, she said quietly, turning away from him. Amara. No, she cut him off, her voice trembling but firm. You've had plenty of chances to tell me the truth. I'm not begging for it anymore. She walked straight to his office. This time, he didn't stop her. And that scared her more than anything. The door creaked open. The room was exactly how she imagined, clean, organized, controlled. Just like him. Her eyes scanned the desk. Files. Documents. Nothing unusual. Think, Amara, she whispered to herself. If he had a secret, it would be here. Her fingers hovered over a drawer. For a second, she hesitated. This is crazy, she muttered. Just walk away. But her heart refused. She pulled it open. Nothing. Another drawer. Still nothing. Frustration built in her chest. Where is it? She whispered. Then she saw it. A folder. Tucked neatly beneath a stack of documents. Her name on it. Amara froze. No, she breathed. Her hands shook as she picked it up. Slowly. Carefully. Like it might explode. She opened it. And everything inside her shattered. Photos. Of her. Walking down the street. Leaving the hospital. Sitting alone at a cafe. Dates. Times. Notes. Detailed notes. How long? She whispered, her voice breaking. Her chest tightened as she flipped through the pages. This wasn't random. This wasn't recent. This had been going on long before the contract. Long before the marriage. Long before he ever spoke to her. He knew, she said, shaking her head. He knew everything. Her knees felt weak. Her entire relationship, every moment, every word, suddenly felt fake. Planned. Controlled. She didn't hear him walk in. Put it down. His voice was calm. Too calm. Amara turned slowly, the folder still in her hands. You were watching me, she said. It wasn't a question. He didn't deny it. Say something, she demanded, her voice rising. Say anything. It's not what you think. She let out a broken laugh. Oh, really? Because it looks exactly like what I think. You're overreacting. That did it. Overreacting, she repeated, disbelief flooding her voice. You had a file on me, Ethan. Photos. Notes. My life. And you're calling me dramatic. His jaw tightened. I was making a decision. A decision, she snapped. About what? Which girl to buy? His eyes darkened. Watch your tone. No, she said, shaking her head. You don't get to control this conversation anymore. Silence fell. Heavy. Unforgiving. Was any of this real? She asked again, her voice softer now, but more dangerous. He didn't answer. And that was all she needed. Wow, she whispered. I really was just business to you. That's not true. Then prove it, she shouted. Because right now, all I see is a man who planned everything, including me. He took a step toward her. She stepped back. Don't, she warned. I chose you, he said. Her breath caught. Yeah, she replied bitterly. I can see that now. No, he said, his voice stronger. You don't understand. Then explain it, she cried. Silence. Again. Always silence. Tears finally fell down her cheeks. I was nothing to you, she whispered. That's not true. Then why didn't you tell me? She asked. Why did I have to find out like this? He had no answer. And that hurt the most. Amara wiped her tears quickly, shaking her head. I can't do this, she said. She dropped the folder onto the desk. I can't stay here. Ethan's expression shifted. For the first time. He looked unsure. You're leaving. Yes. You can't. Watch me. You signed a contract. She laughed bitterly. Yeah. And you broke it first. That hit. She saw it in his eyes. You crossed the line, she continued. Not just with that kiss, but with this. With all of this. It's not that simple. It is for me, she said firmly. I'm done. She turned and walked out. This time. He didn't stop her. And that hurt more than anything. The weeks after leaving felt unreal. Too quiet. Too empty. Amara moved into a small apartment on the other side of the city. No luxury. No cameras. No pretending. Just her. And for the first time in a long time, she could breathe. But peace didn't mean healing. Because no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't forget him. His voice. His touch. That kiss. Stop it, she muttered to herself one night. It wasn't real. But her heart didn't listen. And that was the problem. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into silence. Until one night, there was a knock on her door. Amara frowned, checking the time. Who could that be? She walked over slowly, her heart picking up for no reason. She opened the door. And froze. Ethan. Standing there. Soaked in rain. No jacket. No perfect composure. Just him. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice barely steady. I needed to see you. She crossed her arms, instinctively putting distance between them. You don't just show up like this. I know. Then why are you here? He exhaled, running a hand through his wet hair. Because I was wrong. Her heart skipped. But she didn't let it show. That doesn't change anything, she said. It changes everything, he replied. Silence. Rain falling behind him. I've spent my whole life controlling everything, he continued. Every decision. Every outcome. And, she asked quietly. And for the first time, he hesitated. I couldn't control this. Her chest tightened. Couldn't control what? You. The word hit harder than she expected. I chose you before the contract, he said. Not because I needed a wife, but because I couldn't stop thinking about you. Amara's breath caught. That doesn't make this okay, she said, but her voice was softer now. I know, he admitted. I handled it wrong. I handled everything wrong. She studied him carefully. This wasn't the man she knew. This wasn't the controlled, distant CEO. This was someone else. Someone real. I don't trust you, she said honestly. You should, he replied. Not yet. Silence stretched between them. But I'm asking for a chance, he added. A chance for what? To do it right this time. Her heart raced. No contracts, he said. No rules. No control. She swallowed hard. Just me. Trying to be the man you deserved from the beginning. Tears filled her eyes again. You hurt me, she whispered. I know. You lied to me. I know. And you still expect me to just, what? Fall back into your life. No, he said softly. I expect you to choose. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Real. Terrifying. Because this time, he continued, it won't be business. Her heart pounded in her chest. It'll be real. Silence. Just the sound of rain. And two people standing at the edge of something they couldn't predict. Amara looked at him. Really looked at him. And, for the first time, she didn't see a billionaire. She saw a man. Flawed. Broken. Trying. This is a bad idea, she whispered. Probably, he agreed. A small, shaky laugh escaped her. But, she hesitated. But, he prompted. She took a deep breath. And stepped forward. Not all the way. But enough. Don't make me regret this, she said. I won't. You already did once. I won't again. She searched his eyes. Looking for doubt. For lies. For anything that would tell her to walk away. But all she saw was truth. And maybe that was the scariest part. Because this time, there was no contract to protect her. Only her heart. If you made it this far, the voiceover fades in softly. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, would you give him a second chance? Because sometimes, the most dangerous love is the one that was never supposed to happen.